is a old 1986 VFR750 that I've been slowly doing up for the last couple of years. Got it as a runner, but it wasn't running all that great, and the fairings were in terrible condition. That was probably about 4 years ago. So over time I've been doing lots myself, some by helpful mechanics. The carbies were too much for me. I took them off and took them to someone who knew what they were doing. They cleaned them all out properly after 2 attempts from me, not getting it right, and tuned it up a bit, so increased the main jets to suit the open exhaust, which is, I think, one of the original stain tune exhausts. They're not in great condition. They've had a few knocks underneath there. They've had a few knocks, but I've taken all the panels off, and I decided I'd try to do the original pearl white, which I just did it in a Toyota Prado pearl white colour. I did it with a rattle can. It just took a lot of patience, because you've got to get all the layers right, because there's 3 layers to it. So the base, the silver and the pearl, and then I did a top coat in 2-pack clear, which really set it off. So the tank's original and the fairings the new colour. That side panel there is the original, which I sourced down a almost brand new one, I think, but you can see it's a slightly different colour between the two. But I built this thing to ride it, and I wasn't about to go and spend $5,000-6,000 on a paint job. I only bought it for $3,000, and I just wanted it to ride. It's a bike I had a ride on when I was about 10 years of age, when it had first come out in '86. A friend of my dad's had bought one when he retired from the Navy. He came round and said, "Do you want to go for a ride?" And we ended up riding from Mudgeeraba on the Gold Coast, where we lived, all the way down past Lismore, and then back up along the coast. And it was a good long ride, and I absolutely loved it. So for years I've kept an eye out for one, and they seem to get harder and harder to find. But eventually I found one down in Shepparton, which wasn't too far from where I was living at the time. So I went down, and it was on a farm in a shed, and it ran, but everything needed doing. So I needed to bleed the brakes, flush them out. The pads were okay. The electrics weren't that great, so I had to replace the regulator, rectifier, and I just did a lot of research online, so I ended up getting one from Rick's Motorsport, one of the solid state ones, and fitted it. It doesn't heat up as much, so it's been great. I replaced all the, you might be able to see in there, it's got an all new radiator, all new hoses, just to make it reliable and run right. New tyres, obviously, and I just gave it a bit of a tidy up. What else have I done? I just fitted USB chargers and a quad lock and stuff like that, so I can get out and ride. And the headlight was pretty horrible, so I gave that a clean up and put an LED headlight in there. And now she runs great. So I've just got the GoPro set up on the chin mount on the helmet, so I'll take a bit of a video as I ride down. I've come up towards Mount Crosby behind Brisbane, out past Kenmore, and I've just turned onto the Colo Road. The Colo Road will take me down over the Brisbane River back towards Ipswich, and then I'll ride back home into inner city Brisbane. Beautiful Sunday out here today, and hardly anyone around, so it's a fantastic ride. But all the motorcyclists in Brisbane know about all of these runs, so I'm not telling them anything new. So yeah, I hope you enjoy it. I certainly am. I love the bike. It's 40 years old this year. In May it was built 40 years ago. So I did have the intention of taking it for a good ride this year. So a couple of good 100k plus rides around Brisbane is really just a shakedown to make sure all the electrics and everything are working as they should be. Oh, there's a few other things I've done. So I replaced the clutch. All the plates are a bit worn out. It's done. Well, I've just taken it I've probably done about 15,000 Ks on it. It's just over 90,000 Ks now. And it just purrs. It does everything you want. It changes gears nicely. It's not clunky at all. It's just fantastic. All the seat was torn up, so you can see there that I've had it all redone. I didn't do that myself, obviously. And it's done in like a grey suede kind of material, which is just, I prefer than the old vinyl, which used to just get hot and a bit slippery. Whereas that doesn't get as hot and you tend to stick to it a little bit better. I got the sticker kit from, well, for the panels that I needed to. So around the back, I've had to do some plastic welding. They always crack around there. Got the whole sticker kit. As I said, the tank's original. All those stickers are original, but all of these ones down here I had to replace. And then I just did a 2-pack clear over the top just to keep them a bit safe and then peel off. The screen is brand new. You can get replacements for those on eBay. The one I had was all discoloured and crackly and horrible. And I put a new rear shock in from YSS, brand new, to suit my 95 kilo heavy load that the poor thing's having to carry. So I don't know if you can see that in there, but yeah, brand new. They've just fitted. It makes a huge difference. So yeah, another rider. There's a Harley. Catch up with him in a second. Yeah, beautiful bike, and they're getting hard to find, but when they are around, they're not all that expensive. And look, I'm no genius on the spanners, but I love researching this stuff on YouTube, and there's so many helpful people out there which help you do all the necessary things that you need to do, checking all the electrics and servicing it and changing the clutch, and helpful people on Facebook that'll solve issues for you, not like what it used to be years and years ago. It's so much easier now to just get buried into it and work out the issues for yourself and get it sorted out. It's much more rewarding when you do that, I think, than just taking it to a shop to get done. So years ago, when I sort of turned 17, 18, you used to be able to buy cars really cheaply. I had a Mark II Ford Escort which I played around with and resprayed, and I had a 71 XY Fairmont with a 351 Cleveland in it, and I used to get them. I think the Escort cost me $1,500, the Fairmont cost me $3,000, which I bought off a mate. Had an awesome time, and you never really worried too much about, it's not going to be perfect quality when you do it, but at least you're learning something and having fun. But cars, it's really difficult with cars now. You can't get them cheaply enough. If you're investing a lot of money in cars, you really want anything that you do done properly. Whereas these bikes, you can still get them cheap. There's lots of help around, lots of videos you can see. It doesn't really matter if you don't get it completely right. You know, look at that paint job. It's not, you know, tip top, but it'll do. You know, and at my age, it's a great hobby. You know, learning about things that you haven't learnt how to do before. I've had a go at plastic welding on the fairings. I've always done a bit of painting, but now I can do, I've done a pearl paint, a 3-layer pearl paint for the first time. You know, I'd never done that before. It's just great fun. So for anyone thinking that they might get into it and it might be too much, it's not. Certainly isn't like it was back in the 80s and 90s where you had to know people. You had to go down to the bike shop and ask questions. We didn't have the internet, we didn't have the user groups, and we didn't have the wealth of knowledge across so many people around the world that have got these and love them and are willing to help you. So whether it's this or something else, I'm into 80s classic sports bikes. I've got a Buell as well, which again, there's lots of helpful people around that want to keep the old Buells going now that they've been discontinued. So I just have great fun with it. So anyone looking for something to do, they're not looking to play golf or do one of the other retirement type hobbies, this is a good thing to get into. I recommend it.